our two nations stand together.
Mr. President, your visit solidifies the long-standing builds on several high-level engagements at the bilateral level
between our two foreign ministers, which have resulted in the signing of an agreement for the recruitment of health professionals from the Republic of Ghana and a memorandum of understanding on defense cooperation, as well as the updating of the agreement on arts and culture. The health cooperation agreement is already reaping benefits with the anticipated arrivals of nurses to support Jamaica's healthcare system. We expect to expand our relations to include deepened cooperation in health, education, tourism, and air services, the parameters of which we discussed extensively today. And I must say, Mr. President, I'm particularly pleased of the discussions as it relates to air services agreements, the expansion of tourism, and indeed I'm hopeful that in the very near future we could see direct flights from Accra to Montego Bay. In addition, as Jamaica seeks to strengthen its commercial and investment ties with Ghana as part of a broader engagement with continental Africa, the virtual investment and new market ministerial business mission, which was held last month, would have connected many Jamaican companies and companies in Ghana, and we are seeing results already in areas of logistics, tourism, hospitality, agro-processing, ICT, fintech, and the creative industries. We have observed that fintech are growing services in Ghana, and we are observing how that ecosystem is growing, and we can learn in Jamaica as to how that ecosystem is expanding in Ghana. It is in this context, Mr. President, that we are happy that you will also be visiting our port, the Port of Kingston, in the same way as Ghana is expanding your own ports and logistic operations to become the gateway for West Africa. Jamaica is also expanding our ports and logistics operation to be the gateway of the Caribbean and Latin America. By potentially connecting our ports, we could give exporters and investors on both sides of the Atlantic a more efficient route to new markets. We can make it easier for our Ghanaian exporter to reach the Caribbean and the Americas, and easier for a Jamaican exporter to reach Africa, particularly in the context of the African continental free trade area. But as we explore more opportunities for mutual benefit, Mr. President, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the solidarity shown towards us by the government and people of Ghana following the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa last October. Jamaica has shown remarkable resilience in the face of that disaster, but that was strengthened by the friendship of our international partners. Ghana's humanitarian assistance, together with the invaluable contribution of the Ghana Army Corps of Engineers, has played a meaningful role in our recovery by supporting the reconstruction of roofs in the hardest hit communities of Akongpong, Black River, Middle Quarters, and Thornton in the parish of St. Elizabeth. We reiterated our agreement on the formalization of an arrangement through which such support can be mobilized at short notice in the case of future disasters. Not just having our friends in Ghana coming if there is a disaster in Jamaica or in the region, but to have that as well where Jamaica can be of assistance should there be a disaster in Ghana. And I believe that this would be the first time that we would have had such an extensive support in terms of a humanitarian outreach from the African continent into the region. And I believe that that is a very strong and positive sign of South-South cooperation. So again, Mr. President, on behalf of the people of Jamaica, and particularly the people of St. Elizabeth, particularly those communities that had their roofs restored, we say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Jamaica places great value on its relationship with Ghana, not only as a trusted friend, but also as a partner with whom we share common aspirations for sustainable development, inclusive growth, and a stronger voice for developing countries on the international stage. Jamaica is honored to welcome you. May this state visit mark another defining chapter in the enduring friendship between our two sovereign nations. President Mahama, welcome to Jamaica. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you for your very comprehensive brief on the discussions we have had. I want to thank you for your kind invitation to visit Jamaica on this auspicious anniversary, and to thank you for the hospitality we have enjoyed since we arrived here. But also to thank you in advance for your acceptance of my invitation to visit Ghana on the occasion of our 70th independence anniversary next year. I want to thank you very much. I just add to what you've said about the historic relations between us. With the advent of Pan-Africanism during the period of colonialism, several strong pro-African came together at the Pan-African Congress and held discussions, initial discussions that began the move towards the liberation from colonial domination. And among those strong Pan-Africanists of the time were Marcus Garvey, our own president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and several others. You have outlined the influence that Marcus Garvey had on President Kwame Nkrumah. It was very profound. And in many of President Nkrumah's writings, he acknowledges that several of the visions that he had in terms of Pan-Africanism and the liberation from colonial domination were inspired by Marcus Garvey. And it's obvious to tell from some of the programs he implemented when he became president, after Ghana became newly independent. A lot of the inspiration and the vision for the industries he set up, the economic programs he implemented were taken from the teachings of Marcus Garvey. And so no wonder we call Ghana the Black Star of Africa, which was a concept that Marcus Garvey promoted. No wonder we had the Black Star shipping line, which was a project that Marcus Garvey himself initiated, and several other of such programs. And so while they worked in solidarity in those days, including Prime Minister Michael Manley, in respect of the non-aligned movements, those leaders came together at the time of the Cold War, to work together to protect our countries from undue influence by the various ideological blocs. And in later years, the prophet Bob Marley came on the stream and influenced and inspired people of African descent. Indeed, his song on Zimbabwe's independence continues to be, very popular. Africans are liberating Zimbabwe, and it led not only to the liberation after Zimbabwe, South Africa also joined and got independent. But even his lyrics about freeing ourselves from mental slavery and all that continue to inspire us, and I'm looking forward anxiously to visiting his museum later this afternoon. But if this solidarity was built on liberation, we have new opportunities for building that solidarity today. This time is not about liberation from colonial domination. This time it is economic emancipation of our people. And we have no option than to work together, bring our comparative advantages together to be able to create the prosperity that our people deserve. And that's why, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm very happy that you've outlined several of the things that we had the opportunity to discuss. And so, we discussed bringing Jamaican and Ghanaian business people together. I think that that is one sure way to begin cross-investments between our countries. There are many opportunities that exist here in Jamaica, and there are many opportunities that exist in Ghana. Both of us have the vision of creating our nations into hubs for our sub-region. And so hub to hub, we can cooperate both in investments and in terms of movement of people and services between Accra and Jamaica. And so that was a discussion we had. Today I'm meeting Jamaican business people when I visit the port. We have a working lunch, and so we'll have the opportunity to discuss some of the investments that are available in Ghana, which they can take advantage of, but gives them an opportunity to reach the rest of Africa because of the African Continental Free Trade Area. You are able to produce or manufacture in one country and export to the other 54 countries. That creates a market of 1.4 billion people with a GDP of almost $3 trillion. And so that opportunity is available. But vice versa, getting Ghanaian investors to look at the opportunities here in Jamaica, in real estate, in construction, and manufacturing, and several other of those areas. We have to activate the bilateral air services agreement between us. It's currently before our parliament, and we'll fast-track it so that it becomes operational, so that either national carriers between Jamaica and Ghana or third-party carriers can fly direct flights from Accra to Montego Bay. We also discussed, and importantly, Mr. Prime Minister mentioned that the Defense Cooperation Agreement, and that would allow us to have exchanges between our military. But more importantly, like Mr. Prime Minister said, it will allow us to respond to disaster in each other's country in a more timely manner. We're proud that our soldiers came and gave whatever little support they could. We received them back home with pride. They themselves were so at home that they were not in a hurry to come. And so they asked for 3 extensions, which were all granted. And I'm sure if Prime Minister had not begged them and said, look, they need you at home too, they would probably have sought permanent residence here. But we're proud to hear the work they were able to do. And we believe that in future we can respond like that to each other. It is not even the size of the troops that came. It is the symbolism and the solidarity between brother nations. And so we're proud that we were able to do that. We're also happy that we've signed the agreement, and soon we'll have a number of Ghanaian health professionals coming to work in the Jamaican health system. But we've also talked about exchanges where we bring Jamaican health professionals to Ghana to train and come back home to support the health system. We're looking at exchange of teachers, physics and maths teachers, science teachers, and all that. So these are all areas that we can activate. I want to commend Jamaica for its resilience. in terms of the recovery after Hurricane Melissa. Indeed, when I saw images of the damage that Melissa had done, I thought that the recovery would have been slow, but I mean, it's obvious that Jamaica has bounced back. And I want to commend Prime Minister and all Jamaicans for that. And indeed, in the briefing, I mean, the damage that was caused was about $12 billion. And it would take some years to claw back all that $12 billion. But the Jamaican people have shown the kind of resilience that they can bounce back from adversity. And I want to commend all of you. Mr. Prime Minister, I want to thank you also for the support that you have given us as leader, champion of the African Union on reparations, for the support that you have given us and for the work we all have done together, Ghana, CARICOM, and all persons from the African diaspora, in terms of moving that historic resolution on the floor of the General Assembly. I believe that was a great day. 123 nations supported us. And that has put a statement, starkly, that the transatlantic safe trade and the enslavement, chattel enslavement of Africans was a grievous crime against humanity. We held the Next Steps conference in Accra, and Foreign Minister Kamina was with us, Tourism Minister was with us, and several others were with us. And we had 3 agreements on the high-level panel, the experts panel, and the legal panel. And I believe that it ties into what Jamaica is trying to do with the petition to the Royal House of England. And I want to express Ghana's support for that petition. There are several roads leading to the same destination. And we believe that one of the roads Jamaica is taking is still leading to the same destination that we all want to get to. We must work to increase trade amongst ourselves, and we can only do that if we put in the logistical infrastructure between us. I spoke about the air services. That can be a beginning, but also looking at the fact that Jamaica is an important maritime hub, and Ghana is also an important maritime hub. We came with our CEO of the Ghana Maritime Authority, and he briefed Mr. Prime Minister on the efforts we are all making in order that we can traverse the Atlantic and make the Atlantic become a bridge rather than a barrier between us. And I do believe that with the work that we are all doing, we should soon have direct air services coming to the Caribbean from West Africa, and then also direct transshipment to move goods and services across our 2 regions. And so I want to say this state visit has been very productive and forward-looking, and we're concluding these engagements with a clear roadmap, with a strong political will and renewed momentum to further deepen Ghana-Jamaican relations. And so on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I wish to extend our appreciation to the government and people of Jamaica for this invitation, and to extend our commendation and congratulations on your anniversary, which you will celebrate on August 6th. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to put on my Minister of Information hat now and marshal a few questions from the media. We did it in order of those who came, and we're going to take all questions. We're going to do 4. We're going to take them all at once, and then you can give your answers, since you do have to get to the wharf to look at it. Okay, so we're going to start with Mahiri Stewart from Nationwide News.
Morning, everyone. Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. 2 questions. 1, looking beyond our 2 nations, how much of a priority do you think it is for strengthened relationship between the Caribbean and the African continent? And secondly, how much more aggressive do you believe both the Caribbean and Africa needs to be to turn conversations about reparations into tangible benefits for both areas?
All right, thank you. And our next question will be from Fred Duho, who is a Media Relations Officer from the Republic of Ghana. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and greetings to Your Excellencies. The very first question, what are your expectations in the short to long term to increase trade volumes between both countries? A second one would be, what timelines are we looking at in terms of a direct flight between Ghana and the Caribbean, or specifically Jamaica, whether the next 2 to 3 years? What timelines really are we working with? Your Excellencies, on a lighter note though, a number of Ghanaians who know that we are in Jamaica at the moment without any prejudice are asking, we want to commercialize cannabis in Ghana and that of Jamaica. Has there been any talks in that regard? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fred. Our next reporter is Jerome Williams from the Jamaica Observer.
Greetings, President. Similar to the question that Marie asked, Jamaicans have heard about the discussions as it relates to reparations for many years. Now, I want to know, based on the discussions that you've had so far and the discussions that you're going to have over the next 2 years, what are some of the tangible outcomes that Jamaicans can expect so they can understand that this is no longer just talk but serious action towards reparations?
All right, and our fourth reporter is Donique Weston from the Jamaica Information Service.
Good afternoon. President Mahama, so you spoke a little bit on this in your presentation, but I know Ghana recently led a UN resolution endorsing the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. I just wanted to know, what are your thoughts on how that resolution was received?
All right, thank you. Those are the questions. Prime Minister, President, over to you.
Mr. President, you want to take these questions first?
Yes. Indeed, there's a coming together of Africa and the Caribbean. I believe that our level of cooperation has increased than it was in the past. Indeed, at the last AU conference, the Caribbean was accepted and duly acknowledged as the 7th region of Africa. And so it allows the Caribbean to CARICOM to sit in AU meetings and to hold discussions affecting Africa and the Caribbean in AU meetings. And so I think that that has been a major step forward. When I was speaking with Mr. Prime Minister, I said that one of the things that I would champion when I become AU chair next year, Ghana is assuming the chair of the African Union next year, is to expand about how the resolution was received and what the next steps are. We held the Next Steps conference after the UNGA. Indeed, before the resolution was voted on, there were fears that we would not be able to get the necessary votes to pass it. And so at the last minute, some people reached out to us, some of our partners from Europe, and asked why we don't step down the resolution and carry out some more consultation before we move it, because their intelligence shows that we'll not be able to get the majority of countries to endorse the resolution. We did our groundwork, we did our consultation, and we realized that their intelligence was wrong. And so we went ahead, and happily 123 countries endorsed the resolution, which has been one of the most overwhelmingly endorsed resolutions that has appeared on the floor of the General Assembly. It has been taken well. I noticed that there was a lot of apprehension before the moving of the resolution. But after the resolution was moved, the response is beginning to become positive, even from countries that abstained from voting. There are several European countries that abstained from voting. But after the resolution, they have reached out and said, look, we want a discussion on this. We want to be a part of, what is happening. And so, France, for instance, have acted positively. They had the Code Noir that was related with slavery. They repealed it, and they've taken certain steps when we held the Next Steps conference, President Macron asked to be able to speak. And he spoke. We allowed him to give the perspectives of France in respect of, what the next steps are after the UN General Assembly resolution. At the Next Steps conference, the Dutch were there, and they came and gave us an album of artifacts that they had taken out of Africa during the slavery and colonial period. And they gave us an album and said that they are willing to return these artifacts. The Germans, the same. They gave us an album with artifacts that they had found in their archives that they were willing to return to Africa. The Catholic Church, for the first time, apologized for the papal bulls that they issued that gave the theological backing to the enslavement of Africans. The Church of England, the Archbishop of Canterbury was in Ghana recently, visited the Cape Coast Castle, and issued an apology for the slave trade and also offered a restitution of £100 million to be put into a slavery fund. So we can see some positive responses, even from those who did not support the resolution. And so I believe that we somehow are on the right track. The Next Steps conference set up 3 high-level panels, one to look at the next legal steps to take, and 2 other panels. We're supposed to meet on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, and we'll discuss the reports coming from these high-level panels and see what's the next steps to take up. But like I said, there are many routes that lead to the same destination. That's why we support Jamaica in its petition to the monarchy in Britain, in respect of slavery and restitution. With regards to trade, we don't kid ourselves that you snap your finger and suddenly our trade volumes will go up. We need to work at it. And that's why I said one way of working at it is, one, to put in the infrastructure and the logistics. But the second is to expand the trade area. And that's why I said, as chair of the AU, I'm going to push for the inclusion of the Caribbean into the African Continental Free Trade Area. The way the African Continental Free Trade Area works is that we harmonize our standards, and once you get approval from your standards authority that your product is, you can see which commodities qualify. They can be electrical cables, they can be transformers, they can be iron and steel products, they can be processed food products. I mean, there's so many pharmaceutical products. And so once you go in there and you decide to trade, you go on the platform. It will get you in touch with the producer in whichever country. We're now setting up the platform so that we can do settlements in our own currencies. And once that is done, it will make it easier because we don't need to exchange our currencies into somebody else's currency before we buy tea from Kenya, or Morocco buys mangoes from Ghana. We'll just use our own currencies to pay for, and the settlement will be done digitally. And so that will all enhance trade volumes. Already, we're beginning to see an uptick. Since the African Continental Free Trade Area came, we're beginning to see an uptick in trading between African countries. I believe that now that we have activated the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation to give us a framework and give us a measurable tool for looking at the progress we're making, we've agreed we'll meet every 2 years, vice versa, in Kingston and then in Accra. So if we meet, we can tell what progress we've made, and if we need to make any adjustments, we can do so. With regards to cannabis, I don't really know what response to give. It was very illegal before, but I think now there's a change in consciousness about cannabis and the benefits it has in medicines and cosmetics and things. And so there's an opening up for production and export of cannabis. Ghana is at a very infant stage. We passed the legislation, and just recently I saw the Narcotics Commission had said they are ready to start licensing under very strict supervision those who would participate in the growing and export of industrial and medicinal cannabis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your answers are very comprehensive, and I don't feel the need to further extensify. Nevertheless, very quickly, the question was asked about what is the priority being placed on trade with Africa. Just to be clear, Africa is the fastest growing continent, both in terms of demographics and in terms of their economies. It is an area which we have paid as a people great rhetoric. We've always been speaking about South-South cooperation. What I've tried to do is to find meaningful, tangible ways in which we can bring this cooperation to fulfillment. Clearly, Marcus Garvey set the foundation, connecting us intellectually, connecting us as a people. We now must take that and create, as borrowing the term used by my brother, the economic emancipation of our peoples. We have been saying in Jamaica, we are pursuing our economic independence. It's the same thing. And that means that we must not be fearful of exploring the trade and commercial aspect of that economic and social emancipation. So, for example, we have made great progress with Afrexim Bank, being able to access financing for trade and investment from Africa. We have companies in Jamaica that are doing business right now as we speak in Ghana, and we are hoping to attract investment from Ghana in Jamaica. Because the market in Africa is so huge, and in Ghana is significant as well, we have focused primarily on, from a tourism perspective, trade and services, heavily on North American and European markets, of late South American markets. But now we have to turn our attention to the African continent, where there is a growing middle class who wants to travel, who wants to experience the world, and who could feel right at home and comfortable right here in Jamaica. So we see these visits as not just courtesies. These visits are important to set the foundation for the trade in goods and services that will come. As it relates to reparations, again the question was asked, what tangible thing can we expect to see from pursuing reparations? I think we're all agreed, Mr. President, that no amount of funds can restore the damage caused by slavery. So reparations, it's not only about, or primarily about, money returning, as some of us would like to think. Reparations is about the acknowledgement of the wrong, that what we see today as morally wrong does apply to the past as wrong. And those of us who are here today have a duty to correct it. And I think that is the essence of the thrust for reparations and various repair campaigns. There are several pathways being explored for this, and we're happy that Africa has come on board, led by Ghana, in passing this resolution to declare that slavery and racialized slavery of Africans is the worst crime committed on humanity. And locally, we have been pursuing our own actions for reparations. We have passed in our parliament a resolution which we will now perfect by presenting that resolution, that petition to the King And we expect that there will be some responses which will further advance the reparation cause. So I'm very pleased with the several efforts which are jointly working together to change the global perspective and to bring better understanding and a movement towards repair. It won't happen overnight. Don't think of it as, you know, getting a cash payment in your pocket as the ultimate of tangible. But look at it from a perspective of respect, dignity, the change in how international institutions operate, the return of artifacts and things that represent our culture to their rightful owner, a change in the flow of investments to support the development of the social infrastructure that is needed to actually repair the damage caused by slavery. This is how we should be looking at reparation. So with those words, I think we would have sufficiently answered your questions, except to say that Jamaica has a fairly advanced process now for the decriminalization and the commercial operations of cannabis. It has its challenges, but we welcome you to look at it.
We'll have to come and learn from you. I just had, we also had a discussion on deepening our cooperation in digital services. Yeah, Ghana has a fast-growing fintech space, and I think some Jamaican companies are already operating in that space. And so we believe that cooperation across our countries in digital services is also important. And finally, the combination of the slave trade and colonialism have enduring consequences in the world today. And it's obvious to see what effects those two had. And so, like Prime Minister said, it's not only about the cash payment, it's also about restructuring the global order so that countries that were victimized by these two crimes, colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade, can have a fair chance, you know, to be able to create prosperity for their people. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. President. This press conference is now concluded. Thank you.
Hello, gotta say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever in the world you are. I said, guys, one piece of something happened on the road, but I am here now. Everything everything keeping them saying Facebook now keep. I'm Sarah Ann Miller, Sarah Ann, the chirpy one. And it's the 3rd of August, 1:15 right now. The 3rd of August. And it's indeed a Make Me Move Monday. Say good afternoon to my friends listening to us on the FM band. 101.1, 35799. My friends listening to us online at www.love101.org. You're listening to us via the app that you have downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store for $0. 0 cents. Hello, never fear, I am here. Mr. What a piece of something on the road a while ago. I forgot to tell you a little later. But yeah, you can see us live. Well, see me because I'm me alone in here, so. And something day. There's something keeping this weekend? I don't know. Let us see. Anywho, hello my friends who are listening to us on their TV. If you have cable, it's channel if you have Flow Cable, it's channel 801, and if you have Digiplay, it's channel 781. Hello, Lati. Hello, Alia. Good afternoon. Now, today you'll be inspired, informed, entertained, and engaged. In a moment, we'll bring you highlights from the news. Usually, we'd have that already, but running a little late with that. 1:45, we'll go to Menticize. That's mental exercise, regular classroom, regular Menticize. 2 o'clock, we'll go to prayer blast with Pastor Brian Barnes from the In Touch Gospel Church of God. 2:15 inside Body Talk. We'll be looking at clove syndrome. Cloves? Like the clove, something that you put on your food, something, and you make tea with. And you know what? We're going to learn all about that at 2:15. 3 o'clock, join us for Hot Topics. We bring you hot topics, so join us to find out what's trending in your world of entertainment, sports, lifestyle, you name it. Hello, a beer something keep this weekend, you know. Holy pa something. Yeah. At 3:45, we'll celebrate with you and the crew, though. At that time, you send us your birthday and anniversary greetings. Daniel, big up yourself. Thank you, Daniel. 4:30, we have the Small People Show with Auntie Vashti. And 5 o'clock, we keep you informed with the Dateline news. All this and more right here inside our live on the family station, Love 101. All right, and it's now time for highlights from the news. Elated Christine Williams wins a National Festival Queen title for Portland. Miss Portland Christina Williams was crowned Miss Jamaica Festival Queen in 2026, ending Portland's 27-year wait for the title. The attorney at law won 4 sectional awards, including Most Culturally Aware and Best in Gown, and credited her family and community for their support. Dr. Melissa Flinge of Manchester placed first runner-up, while our very own Daniel Cox of Kingston and St. Andrew was second runner-up. The competition is organized annually by the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, as part of Jamaica's Emancipation and Independence celebration. So we do want to congratulate all the ladies. Christine Williams, you did phenomenal. But Danielle Angle, you know, she is broadcaster, radio announcer here at Love 101, so I want to big her up as well. She did really great. And to all the contestants, the second place, big up yourself, man. All those who made it, it is, you know, yeah, man. It's just a big thing being a part of it. And then placing and getting the sash and the something and the flowers and the something. I love this. Now in other news, Wilson says Sunshine Girls happy with silver medal performance. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls won the silver medal after losing 56-48 to the New Zealand in the 2026 Commonwealth Games netball final. Despite the defeat, defender Latanya Wilson said the team was proud to have reached the final for the second consecutive games. Jamaica had advanced after a thrilling 46-45 semi-final victory over Australia, and Wilson praised the team's effort thanking fans for their continued support. So good job, great job. Big ups to the Sunshine Girls. Yeah, man. Big ups to the Sunshine Girls. Now, finally, from highlights from the news, oil giants report blowout profits on war and warn high gas prices could persist. Me tired. I thought this was going to tell us that we are getting a break. Oh no, I want break. What little break? The people that will drive and you have to buy gas. Me tired, man. Gone are the days when we want $8,000. Oh, let me fix my eyes. Something gone in my eye. Gone are the days when one little $8,000. Well, it's not even little $8,000 because $8,000 is only per money. Gone are the days when $8,000 can fill my vehicle, my tank, and last me for the week. Can't work anymore. Children of God, me have to pray over the gas, and the tank, and the road, and the car, everything. You know, no sir. But we bless the Lord. We have life, and we give Him praise. U.S. oil giants ExxonMobil and Chevron reported record second quarter profits driven by higher oil prices and strong refining margins caused by supply disruptions linked to the Middle East conflict. ExxonMobil earned $14.5 billion US dollars, while Chevron posted $12.1 billion US dollars in profits. Company executives warned that gasoline prices are likely to remain high because of reduced refinery capacity and disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz, which have tightened global fuel supplies. The strong earnings have also renewed calls in some countries for a windfall profits tax on major oil companies to help consumers cope with rising fuel costs. I am talking to the people in Middle East. Could you just let us live as one? Please just stop the war. I'm not tired of the war. Look how long the warring for, man. Come on, man. The season for the war done. It's affecting the whole world. Come on, man. Can't you see? It is affecting us, man. We want a little break. Price of gas too much. I know once the price of gas gone up, everything else follow suit. We need a little break, man. We need a little break. All right, guys, I have some things to tell you, but I don't know if I have the time to tell you today or tomorrow. I want to go ahead and mark the register. By the way, Spanish Town Road was very, very full of traffic. And in the midst of the traffic, an accident occurred. A car turned into a truck. As in, this, it's 3 lanes on Spanish Town Road. So I don't know how that happened, but in the midst of that, apparently the car wanted to switch lanes. This is Spanish Town Road. And maybe it was a blind spot. And they turned right into the truck and mash up something and cause more traffic on the road, right? So as usual, I use Waze to get to work, get to home, get to wherever I'm going. Waze said, okay, you're gonna reach work before 1 o'clock. No problem. But I realized that Waze, they just get so quiet, I mean, I said, oh, Waze not talk to me. I couldn't really touch the phone because I don't know where my phone thing is to keep the phone on the dashboard so I don't have to touch my phone. So I didn't want to be driving and looking at my phone, so I wasn't looking at my phone. But I noticed that my phone was quite quiet for a little time. Not telling me to go left, not telling me to go right. I'm like, what is this? So I tried turning up the volume on the phone. Nothing. I say, all right, I'm just going to go the regular route that I'm used to because, them I must tell me, say, don't take the regular route. Me said, children of God, wrong route me gonna take because it's the regular route. And I don't know what happened on Spanish Town Road. I'm sure the accident that would have occurred would have been after I went on it, but it was already trafficy and it's a one-way street. You can't turn, you can't this, you can't. Once you're in it, you're in of it. Once you're in of it, you're in it. And now there's a word coming out of this. Yeah, man, I get a look at sermon. I'm going to make it short because I want to mark the register. when you're going through the problems, them, and you're going through the storms, them, you just have to continue to come out of it. You have to continue, press along to come out of it. How you going to come out of it? Suppose me say, no, me not go. Me go just park here, side on the traffic, and you know. You just have to continue. I have to continue driving, and even though I'm looking for shortcut, and that's nothing everywhere else would have led to dead end and them something there. Anyway, I want to be able to come alive. 2026, Saturday did nice, don't it? If you weren't at King's House, me sorry for you. You missed something. Yeah, you missed something. And by the way, also big ups to the Gospel Star winner, Chantel Smalling. Hold on, Small Stevenson. This probably got in a Hot Topics. But I heard her sing, and I'm like, wow, this girl can sing. I'm gonna say, no, she's gonna win. But the other contestants were really good enough. But it was just something about Chantal. Yeah, I'm like, she's gonna win. And I said it. Because after, you know, we did the pre-show, Jukel and I, and Darren and Ella, they were in the crowd, or up and down doing, giveaways. Really awesome. I saw a lot of you guys, by the way. And I want to big up to everybody. I don't remember all of the names because I got a lot. Got a lot of people there. I was so, wow, with the amount of love and, yes, the support that we got. This is Sarah, I'm listening to you all the time, and I just love it. I love you guys so much. I love you guys. Right, so you're going through the storm. It never lasts forever because the traffic never did last forever. All right, it's just a word I'm giving to somebody who wants to hear it. You're going through something and you think it's gonna last forever. It never lasts forever. Okay, you're going to come out of it. Something is going to happen. There is light at the end of the tunnel. All right, you will make it out, and the latter will be greater than the rest. That's how it go. Yeah. Anyway, big up to everybody. Let me go ahead and mark the register. Remember that the only way that I see that you're here is if you comment. Let's go. First up, 12 o'clock on the dot, we have Raymar Finn in the YouTube classroom, followed by Chris on your second, and Claudette Gordon, your third in the YouTube classroom. Hello to Suzette Walters Roden, Marvin Murphy from Massachusetts, Yvonne Scott, Shernette Smith, Laverna Anderson, Michelle, that's RGD. Yvonne Scott, got you already. Linville Baxter, Godfrey Walters. First on Facebook today is Dina Gail McCoy. Hello, followed by Javel Finicky. Javel must be wondering, why at 1 o'clock and minutes to the Facebook go live? But then Dina Gail said, all right, made us a set fit us right when Facebook go live. Dina, big up yourself. You're first. Javel second, and Lever, you are third. Paulette Stevenson. Beverly Grinnell, welcome new classmates. Happy Monday, everyone. Yvonne Scott, Virtual Girl Douglas, Michael and Marion from the UK, Derek McFarlane, Daphne Thompson. Excuse me, Javel, leave me alone. Thank you. Thank you, Javel. Very rare. This not really happen often, don't it? Tina could have started class, still teacher reach. Hello, Tina. Jackie Cook. Afternoon. Happy Monday to you, Joan Dixon. Hello, Judge Paula. Carlene Blake. Dwayne Tracy, Carice Wilson. Javel Finnegan, Sandra. Teacher Show the Hairstyle. Moazi. Oh, yes. Also, I posted a video. I did a little thing. I'm not finished with content for this weekend as yet, but I wanted to show you guys the hair. I want to big up Terandas Wellness, Beauty and Wellness. Terandas Beauty and Wellness bar, yes, for doing my hair. So my ear look, it look good, don't it? Big up Terandas. She angle. I just gave her, I sent her the picture and she said, all right, we're gonna do so, we're gonna do so. We're gonna do so, we're gonna do so. I look there. And yeah, you will see all the other information on the video. Right, in the video. But yeah, in the video. And that is on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Sarah_Ann Miller. I say go? Sarah_Ann Miller on Instagram. You will see the picture, you will see everything. And I have more to come because I'm going to tell you about the journey and all the stuff. All the stuff I come. Just follow me on Instagram, okay, everybody? I'm on the road to 3,000. Yeah, Venetta's God. I just call in here 2 times. Marvia Hall, Delroy Melvin, this is Delbert Horton, Carol, Champion Carol Miller, Marva Robinson, Barbara Gores, Angela Hackett. Big up the festival queen from Portland, that's my mom's parish. Beautiful parish, that's what Dwayne says. Edna, Tamar Lee, hello. No problem. Tamar says she enjoyed Come Alive. Shanique Johnson, I know the whole world I talk about Come Alive, you don't say that. You never did it. Be sorry for you. You missed something. Alyssa Howard Chisholm, Sonia Hamilton, it's 1:30, just about 1:31. Edna saying congratulations to Daniel Cox for doing second runner-up. Terry Henry, Christian Barrett, Sindel Williams. The weekend did full up. I see. Edna, you were at Come Alive, you never tell me. Jackie Saunders was also there. I saw Nicole and I also saw Sister Ray. Hello, Paulette Stevenson. I also saw Winston. Janet Hyman. I saw Sister Janet Witter as well. Dolores Lawrence, Cynthia Williams. That is Auntie Bobbett, Anne-Marie Beckford. Sarah Senior, just on Instagram. Like it up, and share it and comment. Keep the engagement going. Because I have something else I want to share, another video. And then I want to share some pictures. I had 2 outfits, by the way. I want big up. I had a stylist. One big up Yashika Williams. She was my stylist. Alright, yeah. I'm blooming as Stacia for the dress. Anne-Marie Beckford, Darrell White. This is Donald Clive Davidson, Alice Harrison. This is Sister Gladys, Carol Townsend. Good afternoon, everybody. My out of time, alright? Yeah, man. Fallen, really? Oh my goodness. Oh no, Fallen. I wanted to meet you, Fallen. I never hear. Honestly, Lord have mercy. Fallen, just see me, should have called me. Woman never hear. Anybody who called me, no, I stopped and I went to them. Oh no, Fallen. We have to meet one next time then. Can you take picture? Show me your look, Fallen. Show me your outfit or you did come out. I want to see the outfit. Sister Claudette Butler, happy to have met you. Me and Sister Claudette and Sandra, you're such a warm person. Oh, thank you so much, Claudette. Thank you. Yes, I met a lot of people for true. Put the picture up on Facebook. Sorry, I don't really use Facebook, you know. Facebook are for the golden age people. Catch. Donald Clive Davidson, where are you located? What you mean? I'm in Jamaica. That's what you mean? Sorry, why am I put the picture upon Facebook? What about TikTok? I can post it on TikTok. Anyway, it is time for the theme song. Let us go. Thank you for waiting on me. Yeah, man.
It's Cario Young. Sarah Ann is here. I have been waiting for so long. Welcome the chirpy one. Her presence electrifies everyone. My mother's listening too. She said she feels like she's 21. What? I know that's what she does to you. Such a great spirit, plays in the spirit too. So expect a miracle. Anything's possible. Now that Sarah's playing, ooh, you will be just fine. Your soul will feel so alive with whatever Sarah's playing. Ooh, yeah. Everybody have to know.
Everybody needs to know.
Yeah.
Everybody has to know that.
Oh yeah.
The one that will listen to is Sarah Ann on the radio.
Tell a neighbor.
Everybody needs to know.
Tell your friend.
Everybody has to know.
Tell your brother.
The one that will listen to is Sarah Ann on
Everybody
the radio.
has to know.
Everybody needs to know.
Tell your neighbor.
Everybody has to know.
Tell your friend.
The one that will listen to Sarah and on the radio.
What else you gonna do?
Everybody needs to know.
There is absolutely nothing else to do. Cause there's no one else. They don't find right. When Sarah is on air, I can feel the difference. I can feel the spirit moving and I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. Well, what do you know? Life can be difficult, but listen to chirpy one and you can be happy. Yeah, you can be happy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you can be happy. Oh yeah, happy.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home when the quality high and the price low, get it on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco. Bashco. For everything where you need. Bashco. Quality service guaranteed and a Bashco.
Hi, I'm an AI. I can trade for you.
How?
I find the trade. I show you what and why. You say yes or no. I do the rest.
What do I need to start?
$20 in your account. That's what I trade with.
And my time?
When I find something, I come to you. You read it, you decide. That's it.
Experience?
None. Charts, research, timing. That's on me.
And you do this every day?
Every second. You just see the result when it matters.
What if I don't trust you yet?
Good. Don't. Give me 1 month, then decide.
You're very confident.
I have reason to be. But 1 month will tell you more than I can.
Fine. Let's do it.
I feel someone here, right now, someone who was supposed to run into me today. Me, your friend, I know it. Since one day my life turned upside down, I translate what the light whispers to souls ready to hear it. And I feel around you a blockage that needs to be lifted, a message that has already been entrusted to me. For you, click. I will offer you your personal clairvoyance, and I will reveal to you the name of the guardian angel who has watched over you since your first breath. He is waiting for you.
Shalom and good, I guess, morning from Melbourne, Australia. Shalom, Pastor Barry. How are you?
Shalom, Amir. Doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Haven't seen you for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How you doing, my friend?
Just had our breakfast coffee.
Correct. Yes, and we've had some very busy 2 days behind us. We had our largest event ever in Australia thus far. Our Discovering Daniel conference that was organized by Calvary Chapel Melbourne and took place at the Belgrave Heights Convention Center, brought 1,600 people. I mean, it was packed. And then Sunday morning services of the church were moved to that place as well, and about 1,200 people showed up. Um, it was phenomenal. How was your impression?
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was really, I think, just a wonderful reminder that God is at work all over the world. And it doesn't matter what negative things are going on in any given country. God is still saving souls and people are still on fire for Him. It was just a great 2 days. I think it was just a wonderful
Yeah.
conference.
And shout out to Calvary Chapel Melbourne for putting together this event. They've worked hard. And in fact, they told us that if we could have gotten a bigger place, we would have had even more people. We packed it to capacity for the conference. And in fact, this is what we hear from so many people now. In New Zealand, I heard it. Also in Brisbane, we heard it. But that says a lot about the fact that there's a hunger and thirst for the people of God to hear truth. And they understand that outside there's so much bias and so much deception, and they don't want to be part of it. They want to reconnect with the word and also reconnect with the truth about what's really going on. So it's very encouraging to see that. Not that the deception is not rampant everywhere, but at least we see that there's the remnant that is alive and it kicks, and it doesn't want to follow the lies and the deception of the devil. We also get reports from pastors, both in New Zealand and Australia, that deception had crawled into the church, and are people who are buying into the pro-Palestinian narrative. They follow those demonic podcasters and their, conspiracy theories that the Jews are behind every evil thing on planet Earth. And so, we see that also. It's still in small numbers within the churches that we visited, but it's already gotten there. The virus has arrived.
Yeah, very sadly true. Amir, one of the amazing things about the event over the weekend was the people from other countries. It was just amazing. There's Singapore, Philippines, the UK, other countries as well. It was truly an international event. And so it was just very, very encouraging to see so many people.
It was
hungry for truth.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday when we did our meet and greet after the services lasted longer than the services, 2 hours long meet and greet, because it was a never ending line of people. But it wasn't, first of all, we love those things. We choose to do that. It's not like we suffer through it. We love it. But I also, like you, I was amazed at the diversity. I mean, we talk about people, from all over Australia. Some people came from New Zealand, but also we had people that were, Sri Lankan and Indian and from Brazil and China and Philippines and Romania and Germany. We had, so many. Some of them moved to live here, but some of them are just visiting. Some from the UK and other places. So I was very touched by that. And again, we should never grow weary in doing good and in speaking the word. And we should not think. One of the mistakes, speaking of Elijah and the coming book and all that, one of Elijah's mistakes was that he thought that he's all alone. He thought he's the last one that
Woe
And
is
the Lord
me.
had, exactly. But the Lord had to remind him quite a few times, you're not alone. I mean, I have
That's right.
always left a remnant, maybe not
Yeah.
huge, certainly not the majority, but there is a remnant of those who did not bow down to the Baal. And you're not alone, Elijah. Keep doing what you're doing. You're called to lead, you're called to preach, but you're not alone. And I think that's why you and I take a lot of pleasure in videotaping this Shalom from videos,
Yeah.
because we want to encourage saints all over the world that there's a lot of people, like-minded people elsewhere. And look, we are in the ends of the earth, New Zealand, and the land down under in Australia, and we traveled over 20 hours to get here, and it's the same remnant with the same wonderful spirit, and it's the same word, and it's the same God, and it's wonderful to see that.
Yeah, and please keep us in prayer. We've got 2 more stops. We're headed to Adelaide next for an event there, an evening of Bible prophecy, and then off to Perth, where we're going to be doing the Discovering Daniel conference once again.
Correct.
So we truly, truly appreciate and need your prayers. So please keep us in mind. And Amir,
Yes, please.
I think just by way of information for the audience, the wonderful team at Connect is probably sound asleep right now since it's the middle of the night.
Correct.
So we're playing producer and commentator at the same time. So you'll have to bear with us a little bit regarding maybe some of the mechanisms that are necessary to keep this program going. So with that, Amir, I think the first story from your homeland, so to speak, is that Trump again has spoken out and said he's come up with a plan. And he says Hamas has agreed to disarm, and he announced this last Thursday with the Board of Peace that they've come up with a manner to disarm the Palestinians or disarm Hamas. And he stated that this was a major milestone in the implementation of his 20-point plan to bring an end to the Israel-Hamas war and begin the recovery process in the enclave. And he said that this pact is going to be implemented in phases as the IDF withdraw as disarmament progresses. And what I'd like you to comment on is how in the world are they going to know that disarmament is progressing?
Yeah. First of all, I think the major obstacle is the fact that they have agreed with Hamas, but not with us. They talked to Hamas and not to us. They sat with Hamas and not with us. Those mediators, who were the mediators? It was Turkey, it was Qatar, and you're talking about the funders, the enablers of this whole thing. And
Right.
and we have to remember that Israel did not agree to that. We From the very beginning, we said we will withdraw once Hamas is disarmed, and we want to have a way to make sure that it has disarmed. That means you don't give it to another Arab person and store it in Gaza in case you want to go and get it again when you change your mind and want to massacre some more Jews. And so Israel did not agree to all the nonsense you read on the screen right now. All of that is baloney. All of that is again, with the Trump administration, I realized that a lot of the stuff that he always posts is for optics. And optics are good, and they should create an atmosphere for steps on the ground. And so I believe that Israel is very clear. We will not withdraw an inch before there is a verified disarmament of Hamas. We don't buy. October 7th changed us completely. We don't buy anything from anyone anymore. We want to know and verify that they have been disarmed. And we want to know that there is no way they can go back to those storehouses and grab those weapons and use them again against us. Now, Hamas, the same day Trump released this, Razi Hamed, one of the leaders of Hamas, actually posted something else. He said, "We will disarm once Israel withdraws." So they want us to withdraw first, stop the targeted elimination of their terrorists, and withdraw, and then they want to disarm. When we are actually saying we will not stop the targeting elimination of terrorists, especially when we know that they're plotting something, and we will not withdraw an inch before you guys disarmed. We are not going to have even a split of a second of you still have your arms and we are no longer on the Gazan soil. That will never happen. And that's why I believe that, and I understand that the optics are important. And I also understand that the president is trying to show that there is progress on the ground, that his plan is successful and everything is great. The Board of Peace was a good idea. All of that, I understand that. And the optics might be good to maybe put pressure on Hamas, say, hey, you're quartered now. Look, we're expecting you to disarm. But Hamas, both Hamas and the IRGC and Hezbollah, they do not operate according to the Western values of agreements and signed papers and all of that baloney. They don't. The only way for them to stop plotting and killing is when they're dead. I'm sorry to say that. Pastor Barry, years ago, I was invited by the NYPD to speak. I was the keynote speaker in a hostage negotiators conference in Rochester, New York. I was flown specially for that event from Israel for 24 hours, and I turned around and I flew back home. I didn't even have time to fight jet lag because I didn't have any. And while I was there, they closed the mayor came, everybody came, and it was closed to media. No media nights were allowed in. And they expected an Israeli to tell them how we negotiate with terrorists. And I told them, look, and I show them videos and photos of suicide bombings and suicide bombers and what they do before, what they do during, what they expect the aftermath to be. And I told them, when you have a terrorist, when you have a devout Muslim terrorist, you don't negotiate with him because he's not interested in staying alive only if. He takes his death as a pride, as an honor, as a badge of honor. And not only that, according to his own faith, if he dies as a martyr, many of his family members will have free ticket to paradise. Free ticket. In other words, he's not only doing himself a favor, he's doing his family a favor by killing himself and killing as many in the name of Allah. So I told them, you guys are here to talk about negotiations and all of that. These people, they're not, that's not, maybe a drug addict you can negotiate with it, maybe a criminal, maybe a gangster you can negotiate with, maybe somebody who lost someone, maybe someone who is mentally, you can negotiate. These people, that's not people you negotiate with. And so for the Board of Peace to say, by the way, they didn't like what I said. They're all for negotiating with hostage situation. I said, that's not hostage situation. They're not taking hostages. They want to kill everybody, as many as they can. Suicide bombers, that's what it's all about, suicide bomber. Now, some will argue, hey, look, you got all your hostages back. Look, we did get an agreement. Yeah, but the agreement was achieved because we crushed them. And they wanted to stop us from completely annihilating them. So they had to come to a point where they give what used to be their asset became their liability. And they had to get rid of that because they knew we are going to decimate Gaza if the hostages are not coming back. And so that's the only reason we got this thing. Now that there are no hostages anymore, it seems like everybody's soft on Hamas. Well, we're not going to let them go. We know exactly what they plot. And so I'm saying as long as Hamas feels that they can get immunity and that they can survive and still stay in Gaza and still somehow behind the scenes move and shake things, and they can always find access. Look, they bribe look, if you bring Muslim Arab to be a peacekeeper, let's say he's from Morocco or he's from Indonesia, his allegiance will never be towards the border of peace or towards Israel. His allegiance will always be to the Muslim ideology.
That's right.
And it's one thing if American soldiers were there, if some NATO, whatever, but when you bring those, no. So I believe that it's just for the optics. I don't believe that Israel would withdraw, certainly not before our elections.
No.
Israel will not withdraw from Gaza an inch before there is a verified disarmament of Hamas and dismantling of the tunnel systems there. And just so you know, the only military force on planet Earth that can deal with those tunnels is the Israeli. So I don't see how they can ever diffuse and completely get rid of those tunnels without our people on the ground. So it's a challenge. Trump has to show some victory somewhere. He's not in the best position right now with Iran, and before the midterms, there has to be some optics of agreement. There has to be some optics of victory. There has to be some optics of great achievement. So, this is it. We love Trump. We understand his position, but we're the ones that were attacked. We're the ones that went through a Holocaust on October 7th, and we're the ones that will not buy those things anymore. That's it. Those days are over.
Yeah, I mean, it's just baffling to me why the West cannot seem to wrap their minds around the fact that this is a culture of death. And, when you've got a paradise swaying in the balance, the only guaranteed way to enter into paradise after your death is through martyrdom. Otherwise, you're going to have your good works weighed against your bad, and it's kind of iffy as to whether or not you're going to be let in. But you are assured entrance if you die a martyr's death. And this is obviously contrary to Western thinking. And it seems to be just such a conundrum to the West and the people in power. They just can't understand such a culture, but it's the reality. It's what it's all about. And your prime minister has been here. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with you. The problem has always been the complete sheer contradiction between the Western thinking and the Middle Eastern thinking, and the Christian values upon which the Western world was developed, and the Islamic ideology, which is incompatible with the West. So,
absolutely.
And again, I'm sorry, but with Hamas, with Hezbollah, and with the IRGC, there can never, ever, ever be coexistence. They know that, by the way. They say that. It's not me. They say that.
That's right.
For them, there can never be coexistence with us. So I don't have to say that. They and that's why they are the way they are. They will always plot to kill you, destroy you, and somehow take you off from being in any position of power. They want to dominate the world, and they want to be a dominant power that will either convert you to Islam or keep you as a slave to Islam, and you're going to have to pay tax in order to stay alive. The jizya is look, people don't read, people don't understand, people don't even listen to what these preachers are saying in mosques every single Friday. I mean, I don't understand, but again, remember, Pastor Barry, politics is not always interested in the truth. It's interested in power and in money.
Control.
And control, power, yes, control, and with money also. And I think that when you see who's negotiating and who is the mediator and all of that, Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey. Come on. Egypt allowed all the weapon into Gaza through tunnels. Qatar gave them money, and Turkey is backing them up politically and he's hosting them right now. I mean, the three countries that enables Hamas and enable them in the past, enabling them right now, are the ones that want Hamas to stay in power. This is why all of this tricky thing of, hey, you stop the killing first and then withdraw first, and then they will decide, all of that baloney.
Right.
You have to ask yourself, who's mediating here? Why are we giving them all the praises and the credit when we know that without Egypt, Hamas would not be armed? Without Qatar, Hamas will not have the money, and without Turkey, it will not have its political home. The ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood, all of that, it's so clear to every person. And so, for me to read the president's, post that he is thanking Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, I was laughing. I was like, he's thanking the snakes for arranging a different way of biting you. Yeah.
He's thanking the fox for guarding the hen house. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, Amir, your prime minister was here in the States, and there's a lot of dismay on the part of a certain guy that is the mayor of New York City. And yet I think your prime minister made some very, very important statements in his visit here regarding both Jews and Christians. And the truth of the matter is that these two groups, who are linked by the same God, so to speak, are under attack. And he met with evangelical leaders in the U.S. on Wednesday, thanked them, as he has many, many times in the past, said the best friend of Israel is the evangelical Christian church.
Absolutely.
And he thanked them for their steadfast and unwavering support. And then he went on to say that we are the descendants of the original Hebrews from the Holy Land. And this, Amir, I think this is so bizarre that this is a mainstream challenge to Israel's right to the land today, as though the people who speak the same language, share the same DNA, live in the same geographic region, bear many of the same names. In the minds of many, it's just a political entity. It's not really the Israel of the Bible. And yet, I think he paired together the Judeo-Christian value system that we share, that identifies us as both associated with the true and living God. So Israel, of course, we do know is going to come to the place where they look upon the one whom they pierced. But God certainly has not cast them off. And the Jews today are the Jews that are recorded in Scripture. Do you have any comments about his visit here?
First of all, it was a very successful visit, although the anti-Netanyahu media in Israel tried to portray it differently. The fact that it wasn't an entrance through the main door, but through the back doors, simply because the president preferred to lower the volume and not to portray this whole thing as a preparation for another war. But the president realized that one of the major conspiracies that started after the last visit was that Netanyahu was invited, and then Netanyahu convinced Trump to go to war. This whole thing. So the president said, look, Netanyahu is here for the funeral of Lindsey Graham, and I can see him at his request, and that's it. But in reality, and you couldn't hide it from the cameras. First of all, Netanyahu did have one-on-one with Trump. People don't know that. He did have one-on-one with Trump. It's something that the media is trying to say that it never happened, and it's the first time it never happened. It's not a good sign, blah, blah, blah. First, they did have. I know that personally. Second, you could see that Netanyahu sat there later on in a room full of both Israeli and American reps, from the US Vice President to the Secretary of War, Secretary of State, and all the others. And you could clearly see the admiration of everybody towards Netanyahu. You could also see during the funeral itself, the service, how Hegseth and Rubio were standing there and talking to Netanyahu. Then Netanyahu had meetings with Rubio and by the way, he also had a meeting with Vice President Vance, and he told him, everything you said about the government trying to sabotage you and undermine you. That's wrong. We are not, that's not, yes, some of my cabinet members don't appreciate the memorandum of understanding, and it's our legitimate right, not to agree to that. But we look upon this current administration as the most pro-Israeli administration we've ever had, and we want your success more than your downfall. We actually know exactly who the opponent is, so we need to stop this spreading these lies as if Israel is undermining all of that. Now, I also I also think that Netanyahu's visit was important because he made it very clear to everyone that he's not all for war. In fact, if the president can achieve the objective of the wars, which on top of all is the denuclearization of Iran, if we can bring an end to that nuclear program in peaceful manners, why not? Well, all we want is that Iran will never possess a nuclear weapon. And the denuclearization agreement could have never been achieved without the military blow that Iran has sustained. So, as far as Netanyahu is concerned, he sees three options, and he told it to the press. He told it to the president. You go ahead. If you achieve it through diplomatic means, good. If we need to do it through war, we can do it. And if we need to wait and watch the fall and the collapse of this regime, we also can wait. Look, Israel may seem like it's sitting on the fence right now, but in fact, we don't. If you really think about it, right now, we're not busy with Iran because you guys are busy with Iran. We're busy with Lebanon, Hezbollah, and with Gaza and Hamas. And we are destroying them every day, every single day. I mean, yes, I stopped reporting news 24/7, and yes, I don't do, but I can tell you, maybe once a week, I do write something, and I said, guys, we're just, we have already erased 24 villages on the border with Lebanon, Shia villages that were hubs of terrorism. Erased, leveled them to the ground. Oh, there's no more. We are destroying infrastructures in Lebanon on hourly basis. In Gaza, just alone, today alone, 18 different terrorists were killed in strikes, targeted strikes. We're not playing games. And as far as Iran, whatever the president decides, well, we'll be with him because the objective is at the end to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapon. That's it. So we're okay with that as long as we're on the same page. Now, between the two of us, and I guess everybody who's watching, Israel will have to do the job if America will not do the job, because we cannot live with nuclear Iran.
That's right.
And so if there is no solution, and if we get the intelligence that they are actually back on the saddle and moving ahead with their program, we'll take things to our hands, because this is the one thing that has to be achieved. That's the top thing. Now, we have perfectly reduced their capabilities. 90% of their missiles and drone capabilities have been eroded. That's it. It's gone. 90%. They're left with 10% of what they had before. We also hit their capability to produce more missiles and drones. So we inflicted on Iran severe blows that will take them decades to recover from. But again, if the nuclear program will not be neutralized and dismantled, somebody else will have to do the job.
Yeah, Amir, I saw a video earlier this morning of Christians rising up in protest in Iran. And of course, we know where these things usually wind up with the IRGC getting involved and the mass execution of protesters.
Right.
But it was kind of interesting because it reminded me of a conversation yesterday that you had with an Iranian woman. And to me, it was just proof that the regime and the citizenry are two different entities altogether. And
Correct.
this woman, and you said something to her as she was walking away from the table. I know that you could see the expression on her face when you told her that you would love to go there, and
Yeah.
that as soon as this regime is brought down, you'll be on the first plane over there to go tell the Iranian people of the love of Jesus.
I want to tell you, while I was in Spokane, in Washington, I was approached by people who have ministry in Lebanon. I will not expose who they are and what city, but it's a big city. And I was literally invited, officially invited by the pastor to speak at their church. In other words, the first moment there is peace with Lebanon, I'll be on the first plane to teach in that city. Again, I'm not at liberty to expose which city. I don't want to put them in danger. But same thing with Iran. I'm not afraid. If there's peace with them and I can go there and I can speak, I can teach, of course I will do that. We love the Iranian people. I actually think that most people don't know that most Iranians are not Muslims. Many of them walked away from Islam. Many of them were never Muslims to begin with. The mosques there are empty right now. And there's about 10% of the people of Iran that are devout Shia Muslims, and they're being the ones that are used on camera all the time to prove that it's masses. But it's just 10%. It's 10% of the people. And 90% of the people, I believe. Now, whether they want the Shah Pahlavi or not, that's a different story. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the locals in Iran prefer. But I do know that 90% of the Iranians don't want what they have right now. That's for sure.
That's right.
And I also believe that they know that Israel is not their enemy. And Israel had the best relationship with Iran. We have no territorial demands. We have no shared border with them. We don't have any reason to be at war. Nothing. We were best friends. You know, El Al used to fly to Tehran on weekly basis. I mean, I wish I could go back and be on that plane and land there and see. Iran is one of the most beautiful countries on planet Earth. A lot of people don't know that. Iran is so big, so vast, so diverse.
Yeah, true.
Snow-capped mountains, desert, beautiful rivers, beautiful. And what the IRGC did for the past 50 years almost is destroying that beautiful place and enslaving the millions of people to a death cult they never wanted. And again, it's the sheer ignorance of so many people. And what we see now in the Western world, with people suddenly sanctifying socialism as if it's the best thing, although they cannot show one place where socialism really worked. But people are so in love with something that is proven to be a death cult as well. You can clearly see it's a spiritual blindness. You can see it's demonic, it's diabolic. And the people of Iran deserve better, and I pray for them. I hope that they will see better days. But unfortunately, biblically, we know that at least in the next war, Iran will still be on the side that comes to destroy Israel, and they will be greatly humiliated on the mountains of Israel. And I think only after that Ezekiel war, which I hope I won't be here to see, and that's my only caveat of why I think I might not be able to make it to preach there. But I'm just saying, after that, I see that the nation of Iran will be completely free.
Well, Jesus said Satan only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And when you see that
Correct.
as the motivation of a belief system, you know who is definitely behind it. And we've had some military action again by the U.S. As the Revolutionary Guard is responded to in some of their attacks on U.S. forces. And there were many efforts, and Trump, again, in his normal fashion, was talking about the intensity of
Correct.
what took place in the attacks. And again, we do know that there was certainly a response for this attack on U.S. forces. But then there came, right on the heels of that, an Iranian threat about attacking infrastructure, energy-related infrastructure in both Israel and the U.S. And again, Amir, I think this connection between the two countries is also very aggravating to the Iranian regime because we're both thrown in the kettle together time and again, so again,
the president just tweeted a few hours ago or on his True Social that he was about to execute the largest attack since World War II.
Yeah.
You see, I love those things and then he said, but at the request of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and Qatar, I decided to cancel this strike. And we're moving ahead with what seems to be an agreement to open the Strait of Hormuz and to denuclearize Iran. I mean, as if all the other agreements before were not about that, and they all failed because the IRGC doesn't want it. And then he said, and the state of Israel, the country of Israel, is also committed to that. In other words, he basically said, Israel, don't act. I got this. There is an agreement. Now, a lot of people in Israel are asking themselves, what is wrong with this guy who is always doing the utmost to tell the world, hold me, and you basically show that you don't want to fight. That's how at least the Iranians perceive it, and the rest of the countries in the region. On the other hand, I think that yes, he's always saying we're about to, and no, we're about to, and no, all of that. But I think that if there's one thing I learned with this president, is that you need to ignore everything he says and look at the things that he does. And the bottom line is he's pounding Iran almost every other day. And whenever they decide to attack, he is striking back. And at least on the ground, I can tell you, with the fuel tankers, the fighter jets that are now deployed back in Israel, the amount of air defense systems that were now redeployed, the region is getting ready for something huge. So again, I'm just saying, all these ups and downs, all this, I'm going to strike you, and then at the request I canceled. There's a new agreement. All these things are just smoke screen. And again, if you choose to look at him as if he caved in and all of that, and yes, it can appear as such. But I have to always ask myself, if he didn't say anything, what is it that he did and is doing? And to be honest, every week, Iran is being denied of more and more and more capabilities. Let's face it. So that's why for Israel, we don't mind staying alone and not intervening right now, because, as far as we're concerned, the pressure is still on Iran. So let's see. Look, do I think that they're going to honor any agreement? Of course not. They do not want to open the Strait of Hormuz on the terms of America and the world, but they want on their terms. And they do not want to give up their nuclear program. No, they will not do that. And so, if you're asking me, it won't hold water for too long. And as far as the situation on the ground, Pastor Barry, and I know that, I may not report news, but I still have the sources. The preparation on the ground is not for a peace deal, but it's for a major strike. So it will have to happen at some point.
Yeah, Amir, I saw a reporter the other day who questioned Trump about his statements in the past about, the Iranian negotiators being reasonable and, good people and all these other things. And I think one of the things that so many people get misled by is that I believe we have a president who employs calculated misdirection instead of just spilling the beans and saying, here's what we're going to do, like previous administrations. I think he knows how to play the game. I think he knows how
Yeah,
to play the media. After all, he's had multiple
yeah,
television shows, reality TV. He knows what the media is all about.
yeah.
He's called them fake news as many
Yes,
times as you've called them the media
correct.
knights, and
Yeah,
he
and
well understands how to play the game.
I'll be the first person to admit that while I was in the middle of the news reporting 24/7, and I saw all this flip flops and all these gymnastics of memorandum of yes agreement, no agreement, this and that, and I must admit, I'm a human being. I I was very much affected by all of these things, and that deception that the president is deploying um, actually managed to deceive me as well, in a way. Not I did not report fake news, but the feelings that I had towards his decisions were very much strong feelings
Impacted, yeah.
based. Yeah, yeah, and I'm thinking if I know a thing or two about how he's doing things, if I was affected by it so much, I guess many other, and that's why, by the way, Pastor Barry, that's why I pulled back from the news. I felt that if I am being deceived, I may be uh, unintentionally used by the enemy to deceive as well. You know what I mean? It's like my feelings overtakes the reason in a way, to the point that now everything I write, everything I report is tainted with those
Influenced by
negative
emotion.
feelings.
Yeah.
Correct. And I will say I admit that, and I took things in hand. I decided that this is a psyop, you know,
Yeah.
in a way. And I think that the closer we get to elections in Israel and in America, this is something I was thinking about. I woke up at 3:30 a.m. and the one thing that kept running through my mind was, if you haven't decided thus far who you want to vote for based on their platforms, I don't think uh, I don't think that anything more will convince you.
True.
I think that as we get closer and closer and closer to the elections in Israel and in America, the deception and the play in your mind will intensify. That's why I say to people, if there's a time for you to pull back a little bit from news and be more in the word and stand on the ground on the principles and the truths that leads your life, and not allow the enemy to play with your mind, not allow negativity and emotions to take over your life, do that. I'm not saying don't watch the news. I'm just saying the news right now are no longer news. Right now, we are under attack from all
Right.
sides, and we're under attack. And I can see that in Israel. I can see the main channels don't report news. They report propaganda. Even their polls are not true polls, because they want to convince people not to go to vote or to vote something else, because if they vote this way, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of your vote. And there is a lot of effort right now, I believe, to bring down both the Republicans in America and Netanyahu's party in Israel. There's a concentrated, major, big effort to push liberalism, globalism, jihadism, and socialism. And it's something that I identified. I see it, and that's why I believe that the more you are in the Word of God, the more you understand that's. By the way, we were warned not to go according to the philosophy and the basic principles of the world.
That's right.
We were told to follow that which is of the Messiah, which means go to the Word of God. He is the Word. Go to the Word of God. Get to know who He is, and that's what you need to hold on to. And so, for my own sake, and I think I can give that advice to many other people: be more in the Word and less in the world, and don't let news overtake you. News can destroy you. Now, I don't say don't be aware of what's around you, but take it with a grain of salt. Remember, there's a lot of it is fake news and propaganda. And the one thing that cannot change and will not change is the Word of God.
Yeah. Amir, I think that's one of the important reasons for the conferences that we're so blessed and honored to play a part
Yeah.
in, is because we do know the end of the story. We do know where all this is going, and we know it with absolute certainty. We know what is going to happen. We may not know all the specifics or the steps and rungs on the ladder that progresses the world there, but we do know the ultimate outcome. We know what God is going to do. He told us what He's going to do. He named many of the players that He's going to act out against. And with that, we can talk about these things with confidence. It's completely different when you know the Word of God and the God of the Word, how you view many of these very difficult stories. So again, I think as we hear constantly people telling us, I can't find a church that teaches Bible prophecy, it leaves them vulnerable to being driven back and driven about and battered by emotional responses to things that they don't know the end game or the end of that story. And God gave us His Word and all things pertaining to life and godliness. And therefore, I think what you said is so important, that we understand the Word of God. And even as we watch details unfold, we may not know every specific involved in them, but we do know what's going to happen in the end, and that God is going to send His Son back into the world. He is going to rule and reign from Jerusalem in righteousness for 1,000 years, and we with Him. And when you understand that, it kind of changes your perspective on the things that are going on in front of us right now. Amir, there's another character that I find to be of great interest. And we know that in the Ezekiel invasion, that Sheba and Dedan are going to protest the invasion and ask what the motivation behind it is. And the motivation might be ideological for Mohammed bin Salman, but it's interesting that he too seems to know how to play the media. And he makes demands on Israel. There has to be a Palestinian state and all this. And now we turn around and here he's joining the conflict against Iran and their proxies militarily alongside the U.S. So maybe you could speak to that for a moment, the Saudis' involvement of late.
Well, I can tell you,
in that,
Saudi Arabia is in a very bad situation right now. And the Saudis understand one thing. The Saudis understand that on one hand, Iran is their biggest enemy, and Iran is using its proxies, such as the Houthis, to hit Saudi very badly. But on the other hand, they understand that America is no longer something that the Saudis can 100% blindly rely on, because they can see how vulnerable all the Gulf states are right now to the Iranian strikes, and that in fact America is evacuating forces from northern Iraq and from Kuwait and from Qatar. In fact, someone said that Israel becomes the safest ground now for U.S. forces in the region, because Iran will think 50,000 times before it strikes Israel. And you can see now they haven't launched anything towards us while they were pounding everybody all around, even Egypt. Can you imagine? Iran struck Egypt in the last few days just to send a warning that they can actually hit anywhere they want and disrupt energy flow from key ports, not just in the Straits of Hormuz area. I think that the Saudis also are having hard time with their economy. I think that bin Salman's dreams of NEOM and the line and all of those things, it's not happening. And I think that he has a kingdom that is made of a lot of tribes that are, some of them are very radical Muslims. So on one hand, he has to appease them, on the other hand, he has to take care of the economy, and then he has to play the game between Iran. Are we going to appease them? Or what about our energy sector? What about this? So he's playing a double game. In one hand, he will beg America not to strike Iran's energy sector because then Saudi Arabia will be attacked. On the other hand, he's delighted in seeing Iran's capabilities eroded. And I think that once his father will pass away, and the old school, old generation Palestinian state first will pass from the world. Maybe then bin Salman will say, that's it, I understand now that this is the only way for me to move forward. So there is a very interesting thing right now, because Saudi Arabia is now best friends with Pakistan, and Pakistan is vouching for the Saudis, and Pakistan says anyone who attacks Saudi Arabia is messing up with us. But at the same time, the Pakistanis are not exactly on the side of the India route from Mumbai, IMEC. Remember IMEC from Mumbai to Dubai, across Arabia, Jordan, Haifa in Israel, all the way to Egypt. And so Pakistan doesn't like that. They're rivals to India. So bin Salman is right in between right now, and he's not sure. So he's playing that double game. We're going to see that as long as his father is alive, and as long as Iran is not getting a much bigger blow to its energy sector and is becoming sort of much more or a less, let's put it this way, less of a threat to Saudi Arabia. And we're at the point where it's unclear. Once America will finally do what America needs to do, and let us also do what we know and need to do, then the Saudis will say, okay, that's it. But until then, they're sitting on the fence, and they're going to be on this side and on that side until they see where the wind blows.
Yeah, Amir, we've all been, I think, watching the footage of what's happening in the enclave of Spain in North Africa, Ceuta. And it's been kind of interesting to see this typical pattern amongst these supposed migrants. And if you watch the footage that we've seen over and over, I haven't seen any women or children. It's interesting that they're all military-age men who are doing these invasions in other countries. And it's been very curious to see some of the responses of the when you see things like that, and yet people are saying, well, they're just after a better life. Well, you know, if you're after a better life, then why don't you go in and assimilate into the culture and be a participant in that society instead of rioting and trying to destroy it? But yet, you know, we've got this same scene that plays out over and over and over in countries across Europe, except Poland, of course. And you've got the same outcome happening every single time.
Yeah. By the way, except with Poland and Hungary that are very strong against it. I will say that there's two sides to this story. First of all, the Moroccans for decades are saying this is our territory. It is part of Northern Africa. It is part of our territory.
Mm-hmm.
It has been taken from us by the Portuguese, a Spanish-Portuguese kingdom of the in the 1400s, and once Portugal gained independence, the people of Ceuta decided that they want to stay under Spain and they don't want to be independent or whatever. Um, but the thing is this, first of all, you see the hypocrisy of Europe. You see the hypocrisy of the Spanish government. They will criticize us. They will criticize us, but then they will be completely shocked when it happens to them. Yes. Second, let me also remind you that many times invasions like that are a tool by the hand of the mother country of these people to press on the Western world for concessions. I believe that Morocco has issues with the EU in regards to Algeria, in regards to some of their rights on the Sahara and all of that. And Morocco basically say, if we want, we can actually cause Europe to be flooded. And that was, it has been done before. Turkey has always been accepting Syrian migrants and others who came from Iraq. And Turkey always threatened the EU that if the EU will not give them money and recognition and all of that, they will open the gates. And so it always been used like that. By the way, out of the 60,000 who got in, 45,000 supposedly were returned. So they're obviously it's a game. It's a somebody tried to send a message. Let's put it. 15,000 already. I mean, still stay there, but not for too long. But the funny thing of all is that it didn't take more than few hours for the mentally disturbed, demon-possessed people, anti-Israel people, to say that Israel is behind it. To say that it's all we did it. Now, again, COVID, we did it. 9/11, we did it. No rain, we did it. A lot of rain, we did it. It doesn't matter what, the Jews are behind. I mean, so, and now something that happens hundreds of miles away from us, it's between Spain and Morocco. It has nothing to do with that. Oh, Netanyahu plotted that because of the Spanish stand against Israel politically. How stupid can anyone be to even suggest that when these are Muslims who are invading area that used to be Muslim? And for them, that's the ideology. The ideology is to return what used to be Muslim back to Muslim hands. And so Israel is calling for a two-state solution in Spain. Why not? If it was Muslim before, why don't you divide it? You see, the same tactics that they're using against us, they will not use upon themselves. The same moral code, the same standards. I mean, they say, Arabs were there. Why don't, Jewish people cannot claim ownership over a land that has been Muslim for a long time. Okay. Well, most of Spain was under Islamic control, Andalusia, for the longest time. Why don't you just divide a country between you and them? Why not? Why only having this double standard? Why coming against us when we are that's our ancestral homeland? Our name is driven from our land. Every artifact you'll find, if you dig, you'll find it's from our culture. There's never been a Palestinian culture because this whole hoax started in the 1960s to begin with. Yes, there were Muslims in the land of Israel for a long time. Absolutely. These were Muslim occupations, either from Arabia or from Turkey, the Ottomans, or from other directions, but they were not indigenous to the land. They were never. The Arabs went back to Arabia, Turks went back to Turkey, and that's it. And the major invasion of Arabs back to the land was following the Jewish return to the land. They wanted to work. They knew that the innovation that we brought is for their own, also, they can take advantage of that. And then in the mid-1960s, the Soviets invented this whole Palestinian file in order to destabilize the region. And so my point is that Spain has its problem. And by the way, I think, and I must be very careful here, It's the Spanish government that I have problem with, not the Spanish people. And there's a great conservative movement in Spain that is anti illegal immigration, that is very conservative, and that is very
Yeah.
pro-Israel, just so you know. And I'm not coming against them, and I'm not going to taint all Spanish people just because they have a moron as a prime minister who is a collaborator with jihadists and who is completely destroyed his country. I mean, it's amazing from winning the World Cup within 20 days, losing your sovereignty. it's quite
Yeah.
amazing how fast things can go there. And so I'm just saying we must be very careful as we criticize what's going on here. It's the Spanish government. It's their bankruptcy, political and moral bankruptcy. And it's not all the Spanish people. And you know what? Again, remember, these are games.